about 0.7% as we speak. Take a look at what the Nifty is doing. It's down about 125 points. It's actually testing the 18,000 level today as we speak. Nifty Bank, on the other hand, remember yesterday it touched at record high levels. Today it is down by about 330 points. Top loser on the charts today is Tata Motors, and we will talk more on Tata Motors in our BNS and Lens segment. But apart from Tata Motors, you have Mahindra also that's declining with cuts of about 3%. You have Axis Bank that is down about 3%. Remember that government will be selling some stake in Axis via Suti, that's the Suti stake in Axis by an OFS. So you have Axis Bank that is in focus. SBI Life also is declining. But on the flip side, Dr. Reddy's, Hero Motor Corp as well as Coal India are holding on to some gains. A lot of companies have come out with their earnings. And remember, we are towards the fag end of the earnings season as well. So you have many companies that have come out with their earnings. And one of the companies that has come out with their earnings is Quess Corp. Quess Corp also reported its Q2 numbers. And just to quickly recap, on a sequential basis, if you look at the PAT, it is down by about 41%. It's coming at around 39.6 crore rupees. The EBITDA margins also, however, has come in a tad bit of decline, but not that much, 3.16% versus 3.85% on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Let's talk about the prospects ahead. What's the road ahead for Quess Corp, and how should you actually see the certain scenario right now? So for that, we have Mr. Guru Prasad Srinivasan, who's the Executive Director and Group CEO at Quess Corp, joining us this morning. A very good morning to you, Mr. Srinivasan. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. This is Cheryl on the other side. And let me quickly dive into your earnings and talk about the margins. If you could tell us what is the outlook on margins now that the cash burn of Monster, and you mentioned, sees that there are no further headwinds to the margins ahead, and expect margins to improve from here on.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much having me. So, with regard to Monster, there are good indicators. So number of active users on the portal have gone up, and our traffic is improving very well. Currently, our burn, as we had experienced in past as well, we currently this year we'll burn about 120 crores. And for Q2 alone, we have burnt around 24 crores. That's the kind of burn what is happening in the Monster currently.
A very good morning, Mr. Srinivasan. This is Adhiraj here joining me, and pleasure speaking to you on ET Now. Sir, now an important question would be, what is the outlook on the product-led businesses, and will growth continue given the strong execution across all segments?
Sure. So, let me touch upon overall Quess. It's a proud moment for us. We have crossed 500,000 by headcount in Q2. So that's a very kind of benchmark that we have. And the best part is consistently in Q1 and Q2 we have added. Consistently, we have added about 30,000 by headcount. So in Q1, we have added about 30,000. Q2, we have done about 33,000. Vis-a-vis, if I were to compare last FY22 full year, we did about 57,000. So by H1 FY23 this year, we have just crossed about 60,000 people. So that's a kind of call out. Plus, we have been consistent on our OCF to EBITDA conversion. So we have done about 72% there. Now, specific to segment, there, with regard to overall workforce, if I may talk about IT and IS, the entire sector, we are still witnessing a slowdown. So, which is also impacting on our quarter-on-quarter result within the workforce management. Either the deployments are deferred or the onboardings are slightly deferred, and the demand is slightly slowing down. So we are witnessing that. Majority of our demand for workforce management comes from the traditional set of industries, which is BFSI, banking, financial, logistics, supply chain, and e-commerce. Plus, telecom is hiring a lot in that segment, followed by engineering and manufacturing. So our demand, still moderate demand, is coming from these quarters. I think Q3 and Q4, this phenomenon would continue as an outlook. It would not probably be a high hiring season. So that's what we are witnessing currently. Coming back to our second platform, which is operating asset maintenance, we are seeing partially, we are seeing the growth coming in. So our headcount has grown. Our revenue has grown up by 10% between quarter. So that's a good sign. Still, though, the return back to work is not completely operational. So in the IT segment, that's an area to wait and watch, specifically for OAM. Coming back to our third platform, which is GTS,
Right.
Global Technology, which has been quite stable. We are not, there's no major, any knee-jerk reaction in that space. The last one is product-led business. Product-led business, as I called out specifically, our new user base is almost about 1.8 million, which has gone up by. And we are seeing more traction on more recruiters coming onto our Monster platform and hiring. So we are quite happy the way Q2 has transformed for Quess.
Right. So let me actually take things forward, because I wanted to ask that you had guided for 21 to 23% CAGR for FY22-25 for all your verticals, be it workforce management or technology services and operating asset management. Does this remain? Do you maintain this? Because analysts say that this will translate into both top line and bottom line doubling during FY22-25. So can we expect that?
So yes, if you look at the numbers for H1, that we have projected currently year on year, the businesses have grown. The workforce has grown 33% year on year, and the integrated asset maintenance have grown about 33%. Plus, we have done about 23% in our GTS. While some slowdown will come in, but anywhere between 18 to 20%, we still see confident.
Also, sir, what is the long-term outlook for the general staffing? And are you confident of achieving a 20% headcount growth in general staffing businesses due to its market leadership and being a competitive landscape?
Sure. So you're right. General staffing has been our lead indicator at Quess in terms of the business performance. And consistently, they have hired 25,000 net adds for Q1 and similar kind of net adds for Q2. So we have, even in my past statements, I quoted that Q2 was pretty strong for us. From that perspective, I would still continue to see a kind of 20% headcount addition throughout the year for FY23.
All right, Mr. Srinivasan, then we leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now to talk about the quarter gone by for Quess Corp and what should investors and your shareholders actually expect for the company going forward. And that was Mr. Guru Prasad Srinivasan, who is the Executive Director and Group CEO at Quess Corp. But let's move on, and as promised, like we mentioned, that today on BNSN Lens we will be talking about Tata Motors. Remember, the Tata Motors came out with its numbers yesterday post market hours, and it reported a net loss. And remember, the net loss has widened when you compare it with what the street was anticipating. Let me go across to Vinny to exactly understand what went transpired in the quarter gone by for Tata Motors. Vinny, over to you.
Absolutely. Another disappointing quarter that is actually coming in. Now, the wait for revival has become, gets longer for the investors coming in as well. Q2 was mainly a miss because we saw higher costs coming in. Other than that, the management said that, yes, they are expecting a ramp up in terms of volumes for JLR, but that's going to be, in the second half of the year. So as of now, there was a big disappointment coming in on that front. We've seen a lot of brokerage notes also cutting down their EBITDA estimates as well, whether you see JP Morgan, IIFL, Axis Capital, Nuvama as well as MK, all of them have cut their estimates by around 3 to 10% in that range. So we are seeing cuts coming in on that flow. As well as in FY23, the free cash flow would be at break-even versus earlier guidance of around, pounds of $1 billion, what the company was talking about. The deleveraging is also delayed as a factor that is coming into play. So another disappointing quarter that we saw coming in from Tata Motors, and that is the main reason for the fall that we've seen.
Thank you so much for that, Vinny, for putting into context what exactly transpired for Tata Motors in the quarter gone by. And if you can see the stock price of Tata Motors today, yes, it is actually reflecting what the street and the brokerage community has to say on this particular counter, down about 4.5%, 4.7% as we speak. So let's get on board our experts for today. We have Siddharth Sadani joining us, and along with Siddharth Sadani, we also have Kunal Bothra, who's joining us on the show. Very good morning to you, Siddharth and Kunal. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now and Buy Now Sell Now, and welcome to the show, Siddharth. And let me ask you about Tata Motors, yes, the losses, if you compare it with what the street was anticipating, it has definitely widened. You have the brokerage community downgrading the counter. But where do you see Tata Motors headed from here on? And fundamentally, you think still things are intact, worth putting or reposing your faith on this counter?
Good morning, Cheryl, and thank you for having me on the show. Well, the numbers reflects in the price also. And we've seen that the result has been a little weak compared to what was the street was expecting. Margins were down, but overall the commentary happened to be very strong. So commentary vis-a-vis to the result is different, and we believe that the coming quarters can be good for Tata Motors. As we know, they have new launches right in front of them on the EV space, where they have Altroz EV2 coming up. New Harrier coming up. So new launches is one thing which they are, which we can harp on. Added to that, I think the talks they are talking with some of the semiconductor manufacturers for a long-term agreement where the chip shortages can be curtailed. That is also one strong moat for the company Tata Motors. Eventually, if you look at on the passenger vehicle space on the domestic side, they've been clocking around 45 to 48,000 crore passenger vehicle currently, where they are planning to ramp up to 55,000 crore passenger vehicles. Added to that, of course, Jaguar Land Rover performed better than what Indian numbers or Indian operations did. They are ramping up production on the Range Rover side also. So looking at the management commentary, I believe the stock has fallen because of the bad results or lesser than expected results. But I think this can be a good opportunity for an accumulation.
Right. Thank you, Siddharth, and a very good morning. Adhiraj here. Coming to you, Kunal. You've been very bullish on Tata Motors for a long time now. Are the charts indicating the same?
Good morning, Godrej, Cheryl, as well as Siddharth. So, I would be very bullish on Tata Motors and I would continue to be bullish on the stock. Now, the idea over here is to look out for more of a long-term kind of a pattern now. From 60 odd rupees when Tata Motors bottomed out in 2020, the stock has done exceptionally well. It's managed to rise up to almost 540, 550 levels. That's a stupendous return of almost 9x for the stock in such a kind of a short span. What we are seeing right now on Tata Motors is more of a broad consolidation. Now, in the last 6-7 months, we've seen the stock trying to test below the 400 mark. 385, 390 has been a huge support for Tata Motors. So below the 400 levels is where I believe the stock would probably get to see more demand coming back. So if I have to put in a range where traders could initiate a buy for Tata Motors, that would be closer to 390 mark, 400 levels for Tata Motors. So would maintain the bullish stance. And for fresh buyers, you can look at below 400 levels as a good entry point for the stock.
Okay, below 400 rupees levels is a good entry point for Tata Motors. And yes, Kunal continues to be bullish on this particular counter. But on that note, actually, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But viewers, stay tuned, because when we come back, we will be coming back with your queries. And as Adhiraj says, with the rapid fire as well. So don't go anywhere.
Co-powered by OLX Autos. Only OLX Autos gives the best price for your car.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Markets at Noon. Midway through the trading day, we help you catch all the trading action.
And get the bigger picture of the equity markets.
We help you screen through all the clutter and get you research insights.
Master the market sentiment during the most active trading hour of the day.
Get exceptional winning strategies from our technical analysts as well as expert views coming in from the market makers. Catch Markets at Noon every trading day only on ET Now.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
एक वक्त था जब हम घड़ी सिर्फ वक्त देखने के लिए खरीदते थे। आज धड़कनों का हिसाब भी घड़ी रखती है। फोन खरीदते थे कि अपनों से बात हो जाए, पर आज पूरी दुनिया फोन में रखते हैं। घड़ी हो या फोन, वक्त के साथ सब कुछ स्मार्ट हो गया है। और आपके घर खरीदने का डिसीजन, क्योंकि आप सिर्फ घर नहीं चुनते, आप चुनते हैं अच्छा आस पड़ोस, बेटर कनेक्टिविटी, बेटर कंस्ट्रक्शन और सबसे ज्यादा जरूरी टाइम से पहले डिलीवरी का भरोसा। तो करना है अगर अपने घर का सिलेक्शन, सिग्नेचर ग्लोबल है ना, ले लीजिए स्मार्ट डिसीजन।
Inox Green Energy Service Limited now proposes an initial public offer of equity shares. The 100% book built offer is being offered at a price band of rupees 61 to rupees 65 per equity share. Offer opens on Friday, November 11th, 2022. Offer closes on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. For risk factors and other details, please refer to the red herring prospectus dated November 3rd, 2022, which is available on the websites of SEBI, the BRLMs and the stock exchanges.
To make my vision a reality, I have to see clearly from every point of view. With my Verilux progressive lenses, I seamlessly transition from near to far and see every detail in sharp focus. When you see no limits, there are no limits. Verilux lenses by Essilor.
Presented by IDFC First Bank. Always you first.
Hetic fittings make your furniture work beautifully. German quality you can trust.
My journey of insurance and investments began at the same time, when I invested in LIC SEEP. In this fast-moving world, SEEP can balance your funds with security and growth. SEEP will take care of the ups and downs of the market and will give you fruitful results so that you enjoy the ride. And when SEEP is with you, you can soar high.
LIC's unit-linked insurance plan SEEP offers savings and protection so that you can soar high in your life. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
Do we have to wait years for a cure?
Hey, Mommy, can we go make some pancakes?
Yeah, let's go. Or are we smarter than that?
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and let's pose a question to Siddharth on what should investors do, or retail investors do, in order to protect their wealth, because given the fact that markets have been quite volatile, we can't deny that, Siddharth. But in such a scenario, how should retail investors protect their wealth, the wealth that they've created or they're set to create?
Well, Cheryl, it's very simple that one has to keep accumulating good quality companies. Now, because volatility will be always a part of equity business and equity market. But if you go for a piecemeal manner or a staggered manner buying, you will be always getting a better benefit of averaging. So I think take a better benefit of averaging and protect your wealth that way. Otherwise, other asset classes, if you look at fixed deposits or any other asset class we talk about, will not create that big wealth for you. So at the end of the day, to create that wealth, you have to remain in the equity markets, and just to curb that volatility part from the market, you have to take a piecemeal or a staggered manner buy.
Right. That was Siddharth's perspective coming in, but with that, we start the query segment now. Viewers, you know the drill. This is your one-stop destination for all stock-related queries. Our numbers are flashing live, and we are also live on Facebook, YouTube. So please write to us, ask us your queries, and we will break it down for you. Coming to you, Kunal, Professor Thomas is writing to us from Kochi. He's asking about Sudarshan Chemicals. Is it a good buy at the current market price?
Not really. I would suggest that you should avoid the stock because of the fact that the stock has shown quite consistency in terms of downtrend rather than consistency in terms of uptrend. The stock has been making new lows every now and then. I think over the last 8-9 months consistently the pattern has been quite bearish for the stock, and even on the volume front there's nothing major which has changed dramatically for the stock price. So these are the kind of stocks which they continue to fall in terms of inertia, and they would probably make a pattern of lower highs and lower lows. So I would suggest to avoid the stock at least as of now.
Right. This one is also coming your way, Kunal, actually. And this one is coming from Devi Das and wants to know whether it's good time to buy fine organics at current market price or should wait for some more correction.
So I think fine organics you can look to buy at current levels. I think sometime back as well I had mentioned that the stock may go into a sharper correction, maybe a 20% retracement from the previous major highs of 7,000 odd. We are now at sub 6,000 levels for fine organics. So maybe at 5,600 could be a better price to try and buy the stock. But you can start at current levels and then keep on averaging on the way downwards towards maybe 5,500, 5,600 for the stock.
Right. This one's for you again, Kunal. TP Vinod from Tamil Nadu holding 350 shares of Supriya Life Sciences at 340 would like to know a long-term outlook.
So long-term very difficult to suggest because of the recent history of the stock price. But then I would suggest that wait out for buying the stock or averaging out. I would believe a break of about the 340 levels could be the first trigger to try and where the stock would probably indicate that it's coming out of a huge correction post the listing for itself. So I would not be very tempted to buy the stock even at current levels where it's at multi-month lows. But I think only about 340 levels is where we can get a confirmation from current zone for the stock to get into a big bottom formation process.
Right. Sorry to keep you waiting, Siddharth, but next query is coming your way, and this one is from Meena. She's writing to us from Saudi Arabia, and Meena has written to us and said that she's a very regular viewer of ET now, and also she's a long-term investor. So she wants to know about Bhansali Engineering. I'm unsure if you track this one, but what she's asking is that she has 500 shares of Bhansali Engineering, which she's purchased at 169 rupees per share. Now she wants to know whether she should switch to other counters or hold this for the long term.
Well, what Meena should do is she should stick to this counter because Bhansali Engineering is a very unique business. Only two players are there. One is an MNC, Ionio Sterilization, and BEPL, which makes this chemical, and this is a unique chemical. So she should stay put with BEPL, Bhansali Engineering. Added to that, in the same space, which is more of a specialty chemical, life science, one company which has posted a strong results also is Anupam Rasayan. It's again a mid-tier small cap company. Anupam Rasayan looks very interesting. So if somebody is looking for an option, Anupam Rasayan is also a good option.
Good morning, Siddharth. Adhiraj here. Rahul is writing to us from Delhi. 3,000 shares of Tata Motors bought at 395 per share. He's asking what he should do now: sell, hold, buy at current price.
Well, Tata Motors is definitely a hold as of now because one doesn't have to worry by a small dip which we've been seeing in the markets because of the less than expected results. But I think the management outlook is quite confirming and strong. One should stay put.
Let's come from Vimla George, and this one she's asking about Mazagon Dock or Cochin Shipyard. Kunal, which of these two stocks looks better? She wants to know, is it a good idea to shift to these counters from LIC for better profits?
Well, may not be a best time to shift from LIC towards Mazagon Dock because the Mazagon Dock and Cochin Shipyard, these stocks have run up exceedingly high. Now, what this move has done is over the last 1 to 2 months, it's brought most of the indicators, momentum indicators, oscillators, etc., into deep overbought territory. So there has to be a phase where these stocks would get into a lull, where these stocks would get into a sharp correction, and that's the point where you should look to buy these names. So the timing wise may not be right for you to switch from LIC India to Mazagon or Cochin Shipyard, but I believe possibly a correction of 15% from the previous major highs could be a good entry point for the stock.
Right. Siddharth, Kunal, stay with us. We're stepping into a short break, and viewers, keep the questions coming because when we return, we continue to take your queries and also the rapid fire segment. We'll be right back.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
2022 is a historic year for one of India's most loved brands, Godrej, which has now turned 125. Till date, Godrej has catered to over 600 million consumers across 5 continents. Throughout its journey, the organization has maintained a focus on creating new businesses or modifying existing processes to meet changing market requirements.
Recent shift in consumer behavior post-COVID pandemic, especially the mass adoption and growth of digital platforms, have really opened multiple opportunities to scale and transform our businesses. So we have undertaken several digital transformation initiatives across our diverse group of companies and are leveraging on data and technology, innovating for local contexts and doubling down on digitization and platforms to catch this rapid shift in consumer behavior which is brought about by this pandemic. So in our pursuit of excellence, we have adopted a digital-first strategy with a strong focus on customer-centric product innovation and have been quick to embrace cloud as a platform to realize this vision faster for our businesses. So Godrej IT teams along with Kyndryl and our cloud service provider have worked with all the Gillette businesses in setting up the cloud deployment architecture, foundational management practices, helping businesses reap early benefits at each stage of maturity and level of deployment. So this was a group exercise comprising of multiple teams, our cloud service partner along with Kyndryl team and our own IT teams. They came together and did this complete planning, and it took around 1.5-2 months just for the planning stage, and then finally we did a small cutover of non-production workloads. And based on the outcomes and success criteria, then we finally went for our production cutover.
मैं एक ऐप बनाऊंगा जो मुझे ब्रूनो को समझने में हेल्प करे। मैं एक मशीन बनाऊंगी जो मेरे ड्रीम्स रिकॉर्ड करेगा। मैं एक शू बना रही हूँ जिससे I can fly.
When do you think this will be possible?
I'm already working on it. Jaldi! ASAP.
When you believe nothing is impossible, you see no limits. Engineering solutions for a limitless world. Kirloskar.
Gains Technology India Limited, an end-to-end and IoT solutions-enabled integrated electronics manufacturing player. Initial public offering of equity shares of face value of 10 rupees each through the book building process, with a price band of 559 rupees to 587 rupees per equity share. Bid offer opens on November 10, 2022 and closes on November 14, 2022. For risk factors and more details, please refer to the RHP available on the websites of SEBI, the BRLMs and the stock exchanges.
The National Digital Health Ecosystem and the National Telemental Health Program are notable indications that the healthcare sector has accelerated to become a major sector, both in terms of revenue and employment. The sector is growing at a brisk pace due to its strengthening coverage, services and snowballing expenditure by public as well as private players. Presenting the 5th edition of the Economic Times Best Healthcare Brands 2022. Get exclusive insights from global healthcare experts who delve into the future of bringing healthcare innovations to the forefront. Catch industry leaders from the public and private space deliberate on shaping the healthcare avenues of the future. At these times, only on ET Now.
Brought to you by ET Edge.
Pooja, you left the job and still so cool?
Bro, new challenges bring new opportunities.
Oh, really?
Seriously, Rahul, my entire house, now it's an online retail store. Look.
Wow. But money?
Few years back, I'd invested my Diwali bonus.
And now you have LIC's ULIP plan Nivesh Plus. Invest once, get the benefit of both life insurance and maximized returns based on market trends.
One sec, Rahul.
Madam, you are double cool.
Do we have to wait years for a cure?
Hey, Mommy, can we go make some pancakes?
Yeah, let's go. Or are we smarter than that?
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now, and as promised, we will continue with your query. So let me get on to it quickly. This one is coming from Maleshwar, and he's holding Piramal Enterprises at 50% loss. Wants to know whether he should hold, average, or exit. Kunal, Piramal Enterprises, it's supposedly called a clean-up quarter for it. Really bad numbers, but hopefully things will get better on fundamental side, but on technical side. What should Maleshwar do with this particular holding? 50% loss is too much.
Well, let's hope that it actually turns out to be a cleanup quarter and maybe the worst could be behind the stock price. But, you know, on the charts, when we look out for such kind of names, and specifically from a short-term, medium-term kind of a time chart, we look out for breakouts and sustaining of breakouts. Now, the last 1 week or 2 week move for Piramal Enterprise, the stock was unable to surpass the 50-day moving average, and post the results sector, the stock has now gone back from 900 levels to now just around that 800, 815 mark for the stock price. So which means the stock has to break past about 900 levels to indicate that a formidable bottom is in place. I don't believe that you should be looking to sell the stock at current levels, but I believe that possibly above the 900 mark, if the stock sustains back again, that could be a point where you could look to average.
Right, Siddharth, this one's for you. Madhu's writing to us from Chennai. She's asking about Hinduja Global Solutions, bought 20 quantities at 1400 per share.
Well, I'm not a great fan of the stock, and I believe that there can be a lot of challenges going forward. So I would recommend a switcher for the Madhu. I would still go put my neck out and go into the hospital space likes of Max Healthcare, which can be a good switcher for Madhu.
This next query, actually, let me take this one. This one has specifically come for you, Siddharth, because I have a viewer who's been following you for a long time, and that's Soumitra Joshi. And Soumitra Joshi is a regular viewer. He writes to us almost every day on YouTube as well. He's saying that he wants your views on Divi's Laboratories and Deepak Nitrite, and he wants to know basically what are your views for that.
Well, sure. See, both the companies' results were a little negative. I think expectations were a little higher. Margin miss was there, specifically in the case of Deepak Nitrite. Divi's results were also not good. But let me put my right view on both the stocks. Well, Divi's is one of the API plays in India, where India is today importing 80% of APIs. We have the biggest play in form of Divi's Lab. I think Divi's Lab is a must buy in a portfolio. So give that patience to the stock. Do the averaging if you wish to, maybe after a week or so. So Divi's Lab is a hold. Second is the Deepak Nitrite, definitely averaging candidate, maybe after the dust settles of this result and everything, because the result is a miss, margin is a miss. But in this chemical space, we've seen this since 2 quarters. Deepak Nitrite is one stock which we have been recommending since 250 levels, and still we are a recommendation on the stock with a target of 2750. It's a good story. Stay put, average once the dust settles.
Kunal Reggie Jones writing to us from Nagpur, holding Z Entertainment 150 shares at 280. What is the prospect for this stock for the one or 2 year time frame is what he's asking.
Well, I think time to get a bit more sideways for the stock. 260 to 65 has been the broad pivot range for Z Entertainment. The stock has been just hanging around this major pivot point, plus or minus 15-20 rupees over the last few weeks. Now, I would probably believe that you can hold on to the stock, but if you're looking to average, not to average Z Entertainment, but look out for its other peer, Sun TV. I think that's a more stronger as well as a better chart for from the media pack. So I would suggest a hold on Z Entertainment, but if you're looking to add more, then I would prefer Sun TV as a better bet.
Right. Let's talk about RBL Bank then. This one is coming from Satya CK, and he's wants to know about RBL Bank. He's bought it at the levels of 139 rupees per share. He wants a medium-term outlook on this one. Siddharth, what's your view on RBL Bank? Because it's been on the both sides of the fence. We saw a sharp correction in the counter, then you saw a sharp recovery, and now it's actually consolidating at these levels. Where do you see RBL Bank headed from here on?
Just taking a piece from your initial question on the wealth conservation part when you started the show. Again, these kind of stocks doesn't fit the bill, because if you want to conserve the wealth, if you want to stay put with a steady stock, RBL Bank kind of a stock cannot be there, and it should not be there in your portfolio, because it's an extreme high volatile stock. results, news, events are also very extreme side. So I would like to give a suggestion that one should switch, one should come out, go with a steady stock likes of State Bank of India, again the largest asset bank in the country with a strong growth numbers since last 3-4 quarters has been really good. So stay with, come to SBI, State Bank of India. I think that can give you a steady compounder for next 2 years.
Right. Kunal, this one's for you. Sandeep is writing to us from Tamil Nadu. He's saying, what are the charts that indicate Finolex Industries and Advanced Enzymes? Both our stocks have corrected from their previous highs and are now above the 200 DMA levels. Can we enter any of these for short term, or any other stocks are recommended by you?
So I think both these stocks, specifically for Finolex Cables, that's a more attractive chart. I would say that the stock has done reasonably well at, I think, 520 odd levels where the stock is trading. The recent charts have also been quite strong. Advanced Enzymes, on the other hand, has been a more of a disappointing chart. I think the stock has, the volumes have dropped down significantly. I remember a phase where the stock used to trade with very heavy kind of volumes, but possibly in the last 1 year, 1.5 odd year, the volumes have dropped down. That indicates that the participation levels for the stocks have dropped down significantly. I would still suggest that you should avoid Advanced Enzymes till the time the stock continues to remain to this lull phase where the volumes are low. If you're looking to buy out of these two names, I would suggest Finolex Cables.
Right. This one's from Ram Sankar, and this one is for you, Siddharth. He's asking whether he should hold or exit Acrosil, but it's a long-term perspective, because he's saying he's in 15% loss right now with his holding. He's saying, has the fundamental changed for this counter? What was the reason for such a sharp decline this week?
Well, there is not much big changes on the fundamentals of the business. I think one should hold on with this stock with a 6 to 12 month perspective. Added to that, on the home improvement space, I would still give one more view on this. Something like Kajaria Ceramics are also a good bet from here on with a 1 to 2 year perspective. We know that real estate is on the turn. Real estate has been doing good, and home improvement space like Kajaria Ceramics also can perform well. So that can be an alternative option for the investor.
Right. Kunal, coming to you, Arpan's writing to us from Kolkata. He has a sizable number of Sharda Crop. Past few months, he's saying the particular share hasn't been performing too well. What shall he do? Should he sell this counter off, incurring almost 50% losses, or hold on to it?
See, I would suggest to hold on. Now, I understand the stock has corrected from 752 now sub 400 levels, but it's not as if that it's a major break-off trend for Sharda Corp on the long-term charts. Now, whatever gain the stock had seen from 2021 second half, the last 2 quarters in terms of calendar year, those gains have been reversed for the stock. But when you look at it from the 2020 lows, the stock is still way off, from those 100 levels for itself. So it's a stock which is going through a pain, possibly for the next maybe couple of months, but then long-term charts are still strong and intact for Sharda Crop.
All right, hang in there, Siddharth, as well as Kunal. Let us just take a quick detour from queries, and let's bring on board the management of Godrej Properties. Remember that they announced their earnings yesterday, and right now we have Firozshah Godrej, who's the executive chairman of Godrej Properties, joining us on the show. Very good morning to you. Very good morning to you, Firoz. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And we understand that Q2 is a seasonally weak quarter for the real estate industry as a whole. But despite that, your revenues have actually grown by about 28% on a year-on-year basis. If you could tell me, what kind of revenue growth are you envisaging for the coming quarter?
Yeah, I think we've gotten off to a good start this financial year. I think we've ended just shy of 5,000 crore of booking value in the first half. Typically, as you pointed out, the second half of the financial year is a stronger period. We'd given a guidance of 10,000 crore for the full year. We're very confident of achieving that.
Right. A very good morning, Mr. Godrej. Adhiraj here, and thank you so much for speaking to us on ET Now. Another important question would be, now on the PAT front, the company has witnessed strong growth of over 50% year-on-year, as well as around 20% quarter-on-quarter. What were the major reasons for this, and what kind of growth in profitability can we expect going ahead?
Yes, while the reported numbers for the second half did show strong PAT growth, as you suggested, I think both the current quarter and the base quarter were relatively low profit periods. We actually see a lot of deliveries of projects happening in the second half of the financial year. We only delivered one project in Mumbai in the current quarter, but we have over 10 million square feet of deliveries slated for the second half of the financial year. So we do think revenue recognition and earnings as a result of those will see considerable growth in the second half of the financial year.
Right. You've actually recently acquired a 12-acre land parcel in Mandwa East, that is in Pune. How are you actually planning to fund this new project? And also the revenue potential for the project is around 2,000 crore rupees. So if you could tell us over how many years are you expected to book these revenues?
So I think from a funding perspective, we will use our own balance sheet capital. We have a lot of cash sitting on our balance sheet at the moment. We can use that to deploy it to bring this project to launch. And residential projects typically, once the land payment and approval payments are done, can quite quickly turn operating cash flow positive because customer collections can fund a lot of the construction costs. From a timeline of revenue recognition, I think, the first phase of the project we would hope to see recognized within about 3 years.
Right. Also, picking your brain, Mr. Godrej, on this. Now, globally, the real estate sector is witnessing a downturn when it comes to the back of higher interest rates as well as expected recession in Europe and the USA. Now, even interest rates are up 1.9% in India from COVID levels and are expected to rise further. How will this impact the demand going ahead for you?
I think we'll have to wait and watch to see how far interest rates go from current levels. But I would say by historic standards in India, mortgage rates at around 8% are still quite competitive with most periods. It's certainly true that they've risen over the past year, but they have risen over all-time low rates. So I think at these levels, affordability of Indian real estate is still quite attractive. One has to keep in mind that the sector has been through a downturn. So price increases between 2012 and 2020 were almost none. And over that period, people's incomes have grown. While mortgage rates have gone up over the last 2 years, if you look at sort of a 10-year time frame, mortgage rates are actually down from 11% to 8%. So I think affordability for the sector currently looks very strong. And while it's true that the global macroeconomic situation currently is a little concerning, we actually see India as a source of great strength for the global economy. And is likely to be the fastest growing major economy over these next few years. Residential demand we have seen over the last 6 months, despite some of the challenges of inflation and interest rates going up, has held very strong. And we expect to see continued strong demand in the residential real estate sector in the country.
Right. The raw material prices have actually cooled down. Are you actually witnessing any improvement in the margins of back of this?
Yes, I think, the commodity price environment has been quite volatile. We saw, of course, a huge amount of inflation in the first half of the current calendar year. That has, as you pointed out, moderated somewhat. Certainly, if that trend continues, we should see a strong ability to protect margins. And I think there will also be opportunities to continue to take real estate prices up. As I mentioned, over the last decade, there have been almost no increases in real estate prices. We do think over the next 2-3 years that prices will continue to increase and therefore that margin expansion can result.
Right, Mr. Godrej. And before we let you go, last question, what are your expansion plans going ahead?
We're actually very excited about the current business development portfolio. So far this financial year, we've announced 6 new projects with an expected booking value of roughly 6,000 crore. But the pipeline for new projects under advanced stages of discussion is probably the strongest it's been in the history of the company. And we're quite confident over these next 5 months remaining in this financial year that we will add a very significant number of new projects to the portfolio. And we are confident of exceeding a full year booking value addition of over 15,000 crores. So I think the expansion plans are very much on track. We expect this year to grow by more than 27%, to deliver over 10,000 crore of booking value, and hope to sustain these kind of high growth levels through the new business development underway.
All right, then on that optimistic and very positive note, we leave it there. Thank you so much, Mr. Godrej, for joining us on ET Now to talk what's the roadmap ahead for Godrej Properties and where you see your company headed. And that was Mr. Pirojsha Godrej of Godrej Properties, who is the executive chairman of that company. But on that note, actually, we'll slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But Kunal, Siddharth, please stay with us, because when we come back, we will be continuing with the queries and, yes, with the rapid fire as well. So viewers, stay tuned as well.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है, पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Will snow days be a thing of the past? Or are we smarter than that?
बात सिर्फ मेरी नहीं, देश की थी। माइनस डिग्री में भी कॉन्फिडेंस प्लस में रहता था। वो जज्बा आज भी बरकरार है सही मूव लेने के लिए, क्योंकि अब बात सिर्फ मेरी है।
सिग्नेचर ग्लोबल आपके इसी अंदाज को सल्यूट करता है। इंडिपेंडेंट फ्लोर्स फॉर द इंडिपेंडेंट यू।
Inox Green Energy Service Limited now proposes an initial public offer of equity shares. The 100% book built offer is being offered at a price band of rupees 61 to rupees 65 per equity share. Offer opens on Friday, November 11th, 2022. Offer closes on Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. For risk factors and other details, please refer to the red herring prospectus dated November 3rd, 2022, which is available on the websites of SEBI, the BRLMs and the stock exchanges.
In the category Rural Development, the winner Mohammad Shahnawaz tapped on digital solutions to revolutionize public healthcare and ease the task of community health workers in Udaipur.
I'd like to give a message to the youngsters basically. I mean, if you have a determination, if you know how to just keep doing, never to say die, and the way we actually develop a community health integrated platform to basically track the health at the last mile is something, and this has actually been scaled up in Rajasthan state. It's the largest state in India.
This indeed has created a powerful impact.
जन्म और मृत्यु के बीच का वक्त जीवन कहलाता है, लेकिन क्या मृत्यु पूर्णतः अंत है या फिर कुछ है जो इसके बाद भी अस्तित्व रखता है? मैं आशुतोष राणा सुनाने आ रहा हूं एक राजमहल और मौत माया मिथ्या से जुड़ी एक रोमांचक कहानी को। सुनिए मेरे साथ वरुथ
मिर्ची प्लस पर।
डाउनलोड कीजिए मिर्ची प्लस ऐप, कहानियों का असली अड्डा।
To make my vision a reality, I have to see clearly from every point of view. With my Verilux progressive lenses, I seamlessly transition from near to far and see every detail in sharp focus. When you see no limits, there are no limits. Verilux lenses by Essilor.
Presenting partner Herbalife Nutrition. Co-powered by GE, building a world that works. E-mobility partner Olectra, pioneer in electric mobility in India.
Amit ji,
देखने में बातचीत चालू है नो मैनर्स बातचीत बिल्कुल जी बातचीत चालू है
I'm a G, loves Pikachu.
You know, people often ask me why I left my steady job at the call center. I wanted more out of life. So, I launched my own startup. Do you want to know how? Then start up your own business as an LIC agent. You want it, we've got it. Great products, zero investment, leading organization, and unlimited opportunities. So, are you ready? Now think big. Become an LIC agent.
Visit our website or contact your nearest LIC branch.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET now, and we are continuing with the queries, but we will kickstart the rapid fire actually right now. And Kunal, this one's for you from Manish Raju. Amara Raja Batteries, he's been holding, he wants to buy it for 6 months period. At what level should he buy?
You can start buying at current levels, but 580 would be a very good level. If the stock happens to come back to that zone, you can look to average further.
Right, so that's coming to you. Aarti is writing to us. She says she asking whether she should get Varroc Engineering and let go of Bank of India or Dr. Reddy's.
Yes, she should go. She should let it go. Dr. Reddy's. Varroc Engineering is also not a great idea. In fact, Sansera Engineering is a good idea in the auto component space.
Right. This next one is for you, Kunal. Jay Krishna from Kerala is asking at what levels can buy Asian Paints for the medium term.
See, I think the stock is just hovering around the 200-day moving average. If you're looking to buy, I would believe maybe 2,850 could be a better level to buy.
Right, Kunal, this one's for you. Abhimanyu Kohli from New Delhi writing to us 2,450 shares of IDFC Bank at 53. Looking for a 1-year hold on this. Please suggest if this stock is okay to hold or should he sell?
I think you should definitely look to hold on.
Okay, so Soumya Deep Rana is writing to us about RVNL. He's already bought it at 37 rupees per share, but he wants to know what can he expect from this one, Siddharth?
I think one should book a little bit of a profit. Stock has run up quite a good in last 1 or 2 months. I think one should book a little bit of a profit and then hold with 50% of the quantity.
Kunal Vishwanathan Nair writing to us from Kuala Lumpur. Which one is the best out of these bets? Indian Hotels, Chalet Hotels, RateGain?
I would believe Indian Hotels is one of the best bets out of the three names that you mentioned.
Okay, Mullar Vendan has written to us, Kunal, IndusInd Bank 28 shares at 946. What should he do? Hold or sell?
Absolutely hold.
Right, Kunal, Rima is writing to us from Mumbai itself. She's asking your perspective on Hindalco.
So I would be bullish on the stock, but I think a better level to buy the stock would be just around the 400 mark. The stock is trading in a range 400 to 450, so it's better that you take advantage of that range.
All right, and with that we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as query segment. And thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Siddharth, for joining us on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now to talk about Tata Motors as well as resolving our viewer queries. Viewers, we are actually winding down on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But before that, we just have a few hours left for the big semi-finals that we are all awaiting. India versus England, that is set to be played in Australia today. And as you can see the visuals on your screen, the Indian cricket team is actually practicing on the field. You have fans that are playing in the temples. And not only temples, we have fans right here in the newsroom as well who are praying for India to go into the finals. So yes, we are all awaiting for that match. And as there's a joke that's going around in the office as well that the markets will be ending at 1:30, but that's not true. It's just for the cricket fans. But yes, we're all awaiting for the big semi-finals, India versus England.
And with that, we're completely out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in to ET Now's Buy Now, Sell Now. But don't go anywhere. Anisha and Pankaj take the action forward.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
इक्विटी में इन्वेस्ट कर, ग्रोथ का है चांस। डेट में है लो रिस्क, बात मेरी मान।
गोल्ड सिर्फ गोल्ड, भैया ने भी यही किया।
सुन सबकी, कर मल्टी, मतलब मल्टी एसेट एलोकेशन फंड, यानी 3-in-1 फंड। ये इक्विटी, डेट, गोल्ड तीनों में एक साथ इन्वेस्ट करें। म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेज ध्यान पूर्वक पढ़ें।